Hello.
Yo,
Okay, I was like, whoa. I tried to join two times and I was like, where are they?
yo,
Hello, hello. It's the end of the
yo.
day. There's Thule. Okay, waiting for Raha. Dwayne.
What? We
Wouldn't
running
we
the testing.
wouldn't we want to share the link on the thread to
Oh,
see?
we are going live. We're about to go live right now.
Okay, okay.
The link. Yeah, you say that again.
Would you want me to share the link, the YouTube link that's live so they can click on it on the thread? Or you want to share it?
I'm waiting to hear from Thule to see what's going on.
She's muted.
Well, I am here. I'm on Blog Talk Radio as
Hey,
well.
Thule.
Hello.
I'm on Blog Talk. I was on Blog Talk Radio. I thought it came over. I guess it did not. So how does that go?
Yeah, we need to stay on Blog Talk. Your Blog Talk is live, right? So I'm calling into your Blog Talk right now.
Okay, yeah.
I have a second phone.
All right.
Actually, I
That's
have
all.
multiple phones.
Not my
Okay.
business. Not
You
my
want to share
business.
one? You want to spare one over here? Oh man, my
So if
iPad
you
is
if you
dead.
guys can't hear anyone but me, just hold on a second. The
All
little
right.
doctor
All right.
is working is doing this thing.
So I should I call?
Are you able to post that link on Blog Talk?
It has been posted, sir.
All right, we live. The people listening can hear us. We're live.
Oh, really? Okay, cool then. Well, we're here. It worked.
Okay, perfect.
Interesting. Okay, well, it worked. We're live. Okay. Did we have Tony here yet?
Tony is in the process of joining in. He clicked he wants to know how to click the link or whatever. So I
Re-
see you just text him.
Resend it to him because you sent three, I think, or two. Just resend. Oh, you want me to resend it?
Yeah. Tula, do we got the intro music?
Got it.
All right, Tula's back. Tula's back.
Okay.
We still
We
wait
are
for
here.
Tony.
I'm here. Oh, you said Tony. Okay. All
Is
right.
Tony gonna click the link?
We are waiting.
The world may never know.
True. You sent that, like anyway.
Yeah, I technical difficulties.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
This is the first time, so next week we'll get it all together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right,
This is
Tony's joining.
exciting.
Tony is joining.
Okay.
Oh,
Hello.
we are
Tony.
live. We are live.
Yeah, we are live. And where y'all at?
So wait,
They
let me see.
live.
We here.
Oh, you showing yourself.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Let me throw on something. Okay.
There I am.
Ooh.
I probably should do it, huh? Yeah, I'll wait.
Ooh.
This is a tryout. We said that next week we were gonna reveal our faces.
Y'all, we are live. We are live. We are live indeed. Welcome to another week of Two Mics and a Mind. We are on YouTube making it happen. Go ahead, Two, to take us over.
Tony, if you trying to talk, I see you trying to talk. You wanna you trying to show somebody something?
No, I'm talking about earpiece.
Oh.
Okay, we here.
Yeah, we here. We live. Go ahead, take it on, Thule.
Take it on. All right. Okay. So, well, in just a second, we will go. You want us to go to our commercial?
Oh, this is live. I ain't figured out how to do the commercial.
Okay.
We could just
okay. Well, okay. That's fine. All right. So, well, you know our people and who to support and things that we want you to do and make businesses better, people great. Give them a shout out, support them, follow them, see what they're doing. Some of those people also is Jared's Lawn Maintenance for your year-round lawn maintenance. I hope by now people are on their schedule. But you can also schedule if you just want to do some lawn beautification. So you can give them a call at 770-299-4554. 770-299-4554 if you want to do some sprucing and beautification. Give them a call. Also support our people at Total Compliant Plus. If you are starting a trucking company or you have a trucking company and you need someone, you need to make sure that your company is compliant, even though you think you are, just to make sure. Give the friendly people at Total Compliance Plus a call at 404-254-8581. 404-254-8581. Total Compliance Plus to make sure that your company is DOT compliant, Department of Transportation compliant and ready, and that you can legally be in this road because they're shutting down and they're stopping trucks, but only the strong will survive. Make sure your company is strong.
We got a caller already. That's right. We got callers on deck.
All right, so we coming, and I'm going to finish this with Putman Organics. Putman Organics for all your organic vegetables, fresh meats at putmanorganics.com. Follow them on Instagram and see what they have new, brewing, and ready for you for the summer. putmanorganics.com. PUTMAN organics.com. Now you said we got what? Call us. Awesome.
Yeah, you let me know when you want to add them to the stream. We got some callers already.
Add them to the stream.
Add them to the stream right now. We got Confederate State 48. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. It's good to be on tonight. To the Love Doctor, Miss Thule, Ra Smith, to you, Resident Joe, Dr. Joe, to everyone that's on the show tonight. It's just a pleasure to be here, as always.
Great to have y'all.
Didn't get a chance to see. Hey, Ra.
How we doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see. How you coming along?
I went to the doctor today. Did a COVID test. My transplant's supposed to be starting in a couple of days, and so just getting prepared for that. And other than that, I just been kind of just listening to the broadcast, the teachings. Very informative as always. Very inspiring. give us some incentive to want to just do something for ourselves, for the so-called Negro, the so-called black. But other than that, all is well. Yahuwah is great. He's too. It's just exciting to get a chance to see you. So one I can check off one thing on my bucket list. That's to be
I
able
got
to
you.
talk to the man himself, to see
We
him face
appreciate
to
it.
face.
We
Be
appreciate it.
But there's still one other step to make to actually be able to shake your hand and embrace you. Looking forward to that in the near future. Miss Tooley, glad to be on tonight. It's I don't know what the topic is on tonight, but there's some things I did want to kind of express. You were talking the other on one the other week on something about it was a term that you had used talking about um how we've been given a gosh I should have went back to the broadcast, but you were talking about, so to speak, just paraphrasing, how they can change the narrative at any time, and it's always um
That's
not
right.
to our benefit. And so what we have to fight through statistics, as you had stated. We have to fight through um, just stereotypes and things of that nature. And then that's just exhausting in itself. And as we typically always talk about in the show about um, dealing with mental health, it's very challenging to know you have to fight through the everyday issues in life, and then you have to go through and fight through all the red tape with what our oppressor has to just be put forth. So that was something that I had just wanted to kind of touch on tonight. Um, it's very, very difficult, but it's not impossible for us to do. And I believe, us as a people, we just don't have the cohesiveness that we need to be
Mhm.
able to, to just band together for the greater cause, and that's for our liberation. As you had taught the young people to be autonomous, to be self-sufficient. Um, it's going to take a lot of hard work and effort and determination in order to do it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be some magic pill that we take that's going to make these things happen. It's things that we have to start forcing the hand of the so-called people that holds the reins. Start demanding, equality, um, a fair chance. Let's just call it a fair chance, because I just believe that there's a certain group of people that has the advantage, and not so much as being equal to people. We're supposed to be setting a standard to how society's supposed
Exactly.
to live. And you always talk about integrity, morals, things that will make great men and great women and great children for that matter. So we need to really sit down and have those dialogues and conversations, and to come up and strategize how we can beat the system. And one way you said to beat the system, first you got to know the rules of the game. They don't play fair by the rules, but we have to fight with integrity. But we still can't be passive to the point as though we got to wait till next November. We're gonna wait till the midterm. We're gonna wait till they give us another pie in the sky speech and say things are gonna get better tomorrow when tomorrow never comes. So there's just things that we have to set in motion. I believe Two Mics in the Mind is one of those platforms that can make that happen. We just
Appreciate it.
myself as well as others just honored to know we have leadership such as yourself that is kind of just forging, galvanizing the people to make us, kind of consider where we are and just getting fed up and just trying to do something about it. So that's all I really had tonight. I called the number in there. They said there was no shows listed for the day, and I was like, oh, what's going on? So I had looked at your post on Instagram, and they said looking forward to this talk in like 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, and I found you guys, so I'm elated about
Appreciate it.
that. It's good to have, to be able to see you all, and I'll have you all. Thanks for having me on tonight. This is Confederate State 48 signing off. See y'all
We
again
appreciate
next time.
it. Before
All
you
right.
go, I got Big
Amen.
Lee up here with her. Big Lee.
Oh,
I want to see
Yeah.
Confederate State 48.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
All right,
Yeah.
sir. I want to tell you, man, you are definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I like your cadence, man. When it comes, you are a lyrical genius, sir, to say the least. Amongst the others,
Put
I
it in
was
your
looking
hold
at something
on.
that Sean Bostic had put on, with the Zamar team for Bandcamp. So I'm a big supporter.
Yeah.
I try to buy everything you guys put out. You know, make contributions and things of that
Okay.
nature. But yeah, um, the fight is not ended too for what he did to you and Raw at Del Taco. So uh, we'll pick that
Okay.
fight up at a better date. But as of right now, it's good to see you, sir, and see that all is well with you. You're a spectacular reader, also too. Just want to put that out there as well. You know, I just really, enjoy your ruach, man. You seem to be a very humble
Mhm.
gentleman, and I can tell you nothing to play with. But it's just good to see you, sir. Pleased to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. I appreciate it. Good to put a face with with your voice, man. I appreciate
Yes, sir.
it. Definitely appreciate
Well,
it.
you got man, you got a nice oh man, you got a nice score. I mean, it's good to be
I
a
appreciate it.
man like you have to be insulated with people like that, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you grooming us right, sir. You definitely
I appreciate it.
you
I got
grooming
one
us
more
right.
crook over there. I got one more. One on where he counterparting and crying. He ain't trying to quit on me on the workout. You might know this from him. That's Sarah Jester now.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sarah Justin. Hey,
Hey, how you
man,
doing?
I'm okay. That message, man, that facade message, man. Oh my goodness. The one the message that you talked about. Oh my goodness, you were talking about I'm gonna paraphrase. You was talking about respect the person.
Uh huh.
Oh
Yes,
man,
sir, I remember.
that's I put that in my archive. That's one of many that I have in the archives. I just like your delivery and how you make the messages comprehensive. You know, you speak in a language what common people like myself can gravitate to and understand. Um, you guys have that you already know an uncanny alignment there, just teaching and everything. And
Yep.
I appreciate that you guys take a stand, give out pertinent information, that's prevalent to Yahusha salvation. And it was something I had wanted to ask you. Ron asked you a question. Um, I think it was a couple of days ago, and he was using you as the illustration example about being from a single home and things like that. And it was you said you was I kind of was catching what university you went to. Was it a university in the state of Georgia or was it in another state?
No, I went to a junior college in Michigan, and then I transferred to University of Michigan, the Dearborn
Okay.
campus in Dearborn, Michigan. After that.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's a pleasure to see you, sir, and meet you for the first time via um stream. But um I recall one day I'll be able to shake your hand and hug your neck, and
I look forward to it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
yes,
It's good to
sir.
see you too. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Ahab Shalom.
So, well, as again, don't want to make
Appreciate
this
it.
quick, but I wanted to say this too before I say something to some doctor. I'm just glad to know that you are insulated around so many people that have so much consideration and heart and respect for you, because a lot of the stuff that you say to to the public and to the masses, you say whatever you say once, you can say twice. You've proven that time and time again. And sometimes when you say things that I know that it gets under the skin of the naysayers and those that just the gainsayers and stuff like that. I'm just glad that you still take that stand and not deter from it. It kind of make me a little bit fearful because I know that these people have a target at you, and but I'm just glad that Yahuwah is propping you up on every side. That he has your front, your back, and every side. That you have a great support that's around you. That you can continue doing the work for the Malkut. So man, I can't express enough how much you meant to, been so instrumental over these years. I mean, I've been I've been listening to you at least 15 years. I tell you,
Appreciate it.
the transition and everything. I mean, everything is you can't ask for more. I mean, again, I just appreciate you, sir. I really do. Um, Love Doctor, you said you had a question.
Oh no, 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 no. You did a good job. No, no, no questions at all. It was more.
Is President Joe on tonight? Dr. Joe?
I'm right here.
Hey, Dr. Joe. Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Here.
The weather in New Jersey. I have relatives that's in New Jersey in Camden. That's a rough place. I mean, Camden, New Jersey is a rough place from when I visited. But it's good to know that you are a person that is helping the public in terms of having giving them advice as far as uh, psychological help, things that deals with the mindset, the psyche. There was a question I had wanted to ask you um, about relationship wise, and the love doctor. If you want to chime in, you too, Miss Tooley.
That's
Well,
what we do.
my daughter's birthday was the 17th of this month, and we live in two different states.
Happy
So I
birthday.
reached out to her, and you know, my daughter. I think she doesn't think I realize this, but the only time she kind of really calls or checks on me is when she's asking for money or some type of help, which I have no problem helping, but I'm not the one really that wants to facilitate my children to enable them to handicap them that they can't make critical decisions on their own to kind of like figure things out. And if they need my help, I can be a resource to kind of help out. But she sent me messages of what she wanted for her birthday, this, that, and the other. And, I'm facing a lot of things, things of my own, and I do the best I can in terms of trying to help her. But she seemed to have got mad at me um, about the gift that I sent her. I guess it wasn't what she wanted, and so I reached out to her and she didn't respond. So I called my parents and told them about it, and they got in touch with her, and she came up with some excuse as to saying she was going to tell me thank you, and I didn't want to thank you. I just wanted to know that she received the gift that I sent to her, but she never responded due to her, in my opinion, being unappreciative. And I told my mother and my father, I told them that I just wanted to disassociate myself with her for a time, only because of the way that she treated me, knowing my situation and that she's a grown lady with children, and that she shouldn't expect for me to overextend myself just on account of it being her birthday. So I want to know what are your thoughts on that, because it is really taking a toll on my mind going into what I'm about to face this week.
Right. Well, you answered one of the questions I was going to ask is how old is her? How old is your daughter? However, you
She
did
is
that.
20. She is 25 years old.
Okay, great. Well, I think you said a lot of great points. I always teach and I always will like to express that we can't handicap, we can't unable or just not allowing others to grow on their own. And you did what you could do, right? And you should be okay with that. I think a lot of the problems that we do have is because of our past behavior, right? Maybe she's used to certain things from you and she expects these things. What I
Right.
recommend is communication and talking to her. I don't think you did wrong. You did what you could do. It's not like it's something that you could give more and you just didn't want to give. I think you
Right.
did great. But I think one of the things that we could do to prevent issues or misunderstanding is eventually when she probably calms down, have a conversation and, explain to her, she is a grown woman. She needs to take
Yeah.
responsibility for life. And you can give her as a kind of showing love to her. But
Hmm.
she is a grown adult and she needs to take responsibilities. And speaking to her will help, you know, for you to feel better and for her to understand where you stand. I think communication, but I don't think you did anything wrong. I think that's the way to go. You said that you feel some type of discomfort. I don't I don't see any, I don't see why you should feel any kind of discomfort. You did what you had to do, but communicate with her, and then after that, if she doesn't want to understand that, then that's on her. We are grown adults and we make decisions and we feel how we need to feel, but you do what you can do. That's all you can do at the end of the.
Oh, if I might add, another thing that is troubling to me, Rock Smith, he kind of stimulated my mind in terms of watching for patterns of behavior, and unfortunately, that's a pattern of behavior that she has. Um, I don't believe that she got it from me. Maybe, perhaps she got it when I was younger, but she wasn't be aware of that in my life when younger, of the mistakes I made. But I never was the type of person that would always go to someone when I could only receive something from them, that would be beneficial to me. And when it didn't work out in my favor, that I kind of just got irate and belligerent with people. So,
Mhm.
I've been studying that for a while, and I even went back to former conversations, be it whether it be via text messages or what have you, and it was always every conversation was always her on the receiving end, or alluding to receiving something. She would, like call and ask me how I'm doing, what's my status, and then it would be followed by she needs this, and could I help her with that? And it's exhausting at the end of the day, man. It's my kid, I harbor, but I mean, I'm not in a position right now to want to hold on to somebody that just wants to use me for some type of leverage. So, I'm glad that you expressed that, though, because guilt was eating away at me. But I don't want to live a life full of guilt, knowing that I'm doing what I think is right in my heart of hearts, so to speak. So I
Right.
appreciate that advice. So
If I might add,
yes, sir.
I mean, kids do that. We have an older daughter that's about 36,
Right.
another one 23, and those girls will do that. And they'll do that, especially when you express disapproval about things that you don't agree with them doing.
Right.
Sometimes they'll tend to draw back, and then they'll only want, when they can get something versus taking the correction along with it. And that's us being parents. And I understand what you're saying. You're trying to change the course of how she's doing things because you can see, I'm just giving to you, but I'm not actually receiving something back. You don't appreciate it. Sometimes kids will feel like it's owed to them, and things aren't owed to you. All the parents' responsibility is to grow you, groom you, train you what they know so they can send you off in lifehood, in adulthood. Parents sometimes will choose to say, I'll keep my hands on you and keep working with you as long as you show me a sign of respect,
Right.
and show me that you appreciate what I'm doing. I don't mind doing it. But if I'm in a situation, I know you currently dealing with health issues as well, you definitely would expect your kids to kind of draw a little nearer and have more concern for you versus just let me get what I can get, and I'll talk to you later. This
Right.
is a gift and you owe me. I'm your child, kind of type syndrome. And that's something to express to her. And that's something that she feels. Hey, I don't like what you said. I don't have to talk to you anymore. Then that's fine. I've gone without talking to my girls a couple of times. One for 4 years. I'm talking
Right.
about none. I'm a person. I'm pretty stern on. I know the type of person I am and what I've done. As a parent, we
Hmm.
we'll make mistakes, but I tell people you'll make them because you learn it through them as you're going. But you try to teach your kids not to make any of the mistakes you made before you were a parent. And
Right.
sometimes they don't want to accept that. They want to try to use, well, you made mistakes. That's not for you to repeat them. That was because I have the experience to tell you so you can avoid it and you can grow up with an adult without so many regrets. But unfortunately, sometimes with kids, they would rather go through, make the mistakes, worse mistakes, and now the penalty is a lot more severe, and it's a lot more damaging. It's a lot more expensive now to make those mistakes we made. But unfortunately, that's their mindset. I'll say once you've done what you can do, once you know where a
Hmm.
person is, and that's all they're about for whether it's your child or not. I'm an advocate proponent for it. Guess what? I don't run my kids say I'll be the last person run behind you. I'll be the last person that'll call you. I'll be the last person that'll reach out to you. My wife will tell you about that. I'm that type of person because I look at, listen, I'll have all my kids, but they'll tell you, they know you cut a rope with me, that rope will stay cut.
It could be years. If I don't see you again in 500 years, it'll be too soon.
Mm.
I refuse to let a child bring me through as though I owe you to, that you'll just take from me. You ain't concerned about me. You just waiting to get something from me. It's like
Yeah.
it's not worth it. You got the same mentality as a person in the street. So it's like, why waste my time? Of course, it don't. I won't say it's not hurt. You don't, you don't detach from your feelings, but you detach from the fact that I'm not gonna waste my time hurting myself with you, had myself worried about you to that extent. I was just worried, hey, things happen in life. I just have to count you. That's where you at. If you get it and you get it together, I'm always here. But if you don't, then,
Right.
the relationship will stay as it is.
Right. I'm glad that you brought that out too, because, as I said earlier, I studied the pattern of behavior, and then I think I don't know if her memory is jarred to the point that one time we had a disagreement, and she literally ran me down. I mean, she literally ran me down, and she she spoke her mind, but when she spoke her mind, it was not factual. It was just derogatory, to
Yeah.
say the least. Just to see how I would respond to it. And I told her at the end of the day, I'm still your dad, and I will refuse for you to talk to me that way. I don't let people in the streets talk to me that way, and I'm not gonna let you talk to me that way. So, um, I opened my affection back up to her, you know, after that incident, and here we are again. So it seems like a cycle that repeats itself. And so I told my parents yesterday, I'm done with that because I'm already facing things that I'm a little bit timid in facing,
Yeah.
and this did not even come up in the conversation, um, with her and I. So, again, I really appreciate all of you guys, advice on how to combat this issue, and how to to move forward, because at the end of the day, as Charles Jackson, at the end of the day, I want to be able to say, I put my best foot forward. I done what I could do without compromising who I am as an individual, and then still responsibility as a good father.
I
So,
I appreciate it. And more parents should have that mindset, and like if
For me, to people, and I tell people it's all about what you can take and what you.
right. Uh-oh, did we cut out?
I
He's
think
probably going
If you
into
put
the
them out,
house.
what happened?
Maybe. Oh, we
Yeah,
think he
but
had
then it will be.
muted.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir, we can
Oh
hear you.
yeah.
Yeah,
You said
sometimes it's one of.
you tell people what you start from after
Well,
you start.
sometimes like a person saying, hey, they'll put their kids out, but they don't want to put them out. But then they look at the hurt they'll feel, and the worry they'll feel about them being out. And I tell people, you do what you can stand. Whether can you stand putting them out? Because sometimes people put them out, it's a lot on them, and it breaks them down. Some people, hey, it doesn't matter. But I look at this, you have to look at what you can deal with, and you definitely don't want your kids to get that end of they lose the sign of respect. The parent is
Right,
always going to be the parent, whether you agree or you don't like it. It's going to still be your parent. However they see it, they'll always see it from a child's point of view until they become parents and they got the experience that we have, as parents that are, groomed and grown kids. So, you kind of got a different mindset. So, you have to let them know at certain things when they get to that point, hey, I won't be disrespectful. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna be me. Then me gonna have to separate from me, and I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because, like you said, I refuse to have that kind of life with a child where I'm gonna be back and forth with you, and we're gonna be going back and forth and over stuff after I
right,
tell you something. You're a child. Leave them where they at. Don't stress yourself. You ain't done nothing wrong, and life keeps going. And they'll learn later in life whether while you're living or when you pass on. For any of us. And parents, we have to put our foot down. I talk a lot about us recovering our kids,
yes,
putting things back into an order. And we've lost that. Society's done it. Then we play the part at want to keep them, want them to like us. And I
yes,
tell my kids and I tell the younger kids a lot, hey, you're going to hate me. That's fine. I'm good. I understand. I hated my parents growing up, and I learned to appreciate them the more the older I've got, and realized that was a lot. It was a valuable lesson. There were some things they did that had they known, it'd have been done differently. But you do things out of fear as a parent. Like I tell them, you don't want them pregnant if it's a girl. If it's a boy, you don't want him homosexual. You don't want him in a gang. You don't want him locked up. You don't want your girl a lesbian. You don't want your girl to be a whore. So
Right.
then you don't want a dummy, and you don't want to drop out. These are all your fears.
Yeah.
So, kids have to understand that as a parent, you might say, well, I felt like you was too hard on me. I felt like you didn't let me do it. Yeah, it was because I cared. That's why I didn't do it because I didn't want you to do something. I didn't want to have any fun or life because I didn't have one. It's because I made the mistakes. I did a lot of things I got to pay for, and I had to, and I suffer for it. And I want to see you go through, and you can live your life with as few regrets as possible.
Right. And then, I think there's a misconception that they say fathers are not nurturing. I believe that, that's not a true statement, because I believe that I'm a nurturing father, and I believe that men such as yourself are nurturing fathers as well. We show a side of nurturing, a masculine side of nurturing, opposed to a feminine side of nurturing. I don't think that fathers do that.
My kids know. I always tell my kids.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes kids, what they look at is nurturing. If you let them have whatever they want, that's not nurturing.
Right.
Nurturing for us is cultivating them to grow, telling them things like my father never said, I love you. My kids heard a lot from me. My boys, they're still here. They know I told them, hey, I love you. My daughter, so it was never a reason for them to go follow a man's hand and say, oh, my dad never told me he loved me. So I went under some man's hand and became some street prostitute, with a lot of excuses. There are a lot of women didn't hear their father say they love them, and they
Right.
still didn't turn up to be a prostitute or a husband that people use for excuses. And I try to teach my kids to be mindful of, it's your life. You make decisions. You got to consider whatever decisions you make are decisions you got to pay for. You got to make sure you're willing to deal with whatever consequences come with it. Just like your daughter, when you said she was disrespectful, it can be mine and yours. She's got to pay for that. That's not over. She's still rearing kids. It's gonna come back to her.
That was, oh my goodness. It's unspeakable for the things she said. I mean, even if it wasn't censored, you should, I mean, I would be fearful if I would have said something like that to my parents. Maybe I've even thought that, but I felt guilty thinking something along the line that what my daughter had said to me. But at the end of the day, like I said, is that I just don't want, my life to expire and then I leave it with a question mark. What could I have done, to make myself be the father that they expect for me to be? I want to be the father of the book of the Spurs, not a father that the War Cleavers of the world or the Andy Griffins of the world. I want to be the father that's documented in the Sefer, in the book. So, like I said, you guys have poured into so many lives, mine as well. And Miss Tooley and Dr. Joe, you ladies bring another dynamic to parenting as well, because I have notes taken of things in which you guys have imparted with me that I try to incorporate within my daily life and the way that I function to be a person that can be an asset, not a liability to another person. Because when a person, in my opinion, becomes to be a liability, then you need to cut your losses, in my opinion, because the quality of life it depreciates. When you can't maximize your potential because you have so much baggage, unnecessary baggage, and unfortunately, sometimes it's your family that's the unnecessary baggage. And I see, I'm just to the point that I just can't do it anymore with her. I mean, I think she reached that level to where I can't even tolerate it anymore. So yeah, I don't know what the topic was for tonight, but I think
I know what it should be. Where do we cut our losses with our kids? What y'all think about that?
Good
Hey, that's a
topic.
Because you know
good
what?
topic.
Because
I'm like,
what you took, cause I mean, that's a good question. And I think a lot of parents, and I think kids play guilt trips on us. Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't get to do this. Oh, I didn't get to do this. Oh, had you never let me do this. And I tell people when it comes to parenting, you know, again, I mean, you can read all the books you want. You can go to all the classes you want. Nothing teaches you better than actually the interaction of being the parent. Every situation, you can go through a lot of scenarios, but those scenarios are not practical until you actually get what's in your kid because it all depends on your mood. It depends on your financial situation. It depends on your health. It depends on your living situation. It depends on, your other debts, other responsibilities. It's so many things that play a part in a decision from a parent. Somebody said, well, and second guessing a parent is the best. I mean, if we could do it the second time, it'll be better than the first. It's because we make reactions or make decisions based off of what we're afraid of. I was afraid of my kids going to jail. I was afraid of my girls getting pregnant. I was afraid of my boys being gay. I was afraid of my kids being in a gang. I was afraid of my kids getting shot, kidnapped, raped, all these things, hurt, jumped, beat up. So, a lot of decisions you make are all compiled into that, those fears of keeping your kids safe. And I will go to any level to protect my kids to make sure none of those things ever happen to them. So the kid doesn't a lot of time appreciate it in their younger years. And it takes them to get to being that parent. It takes them to get in there rearing kids and seeing these are real fears. The stuff, I can protect myself. I can go, you're a child. You say that, but I know more than what you know. Then when they get kids and they hear their kids say it, they realize I was stupid when I said it. I was dumb when I said it, and you sound dumber than me. So it's important, for us to have these conversations because a lot of parents suffer with you recovering with your health situation. It's really important that you relieve yourself from, that type of frustration with anybody because part of the healing for that body is resting and that mental plays a mark. And then when you got people that's bring you undue stress, especially when you know my condition, then you don't care about what's best for me.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? I think my greatest fear was, and it probably still is, and I'm just not willing to accept it. I think it's not letting my kids down, but to what? My question would be to what am I willing to, compromise or give up that I don't, let them down. My mom, my grandmother used to say this a lot. She said, "Whatever you be in life, don't be a people pleaser. Do it because sometimes we find ourselves, at least for myself. Let me speak for myself. Find yourself doing things that you would not ordinarily do just to please people or get someone's stamp of approval. And I think long term, that's destructive behavior if you continue that way because then I believe that it's just something that you you kind of look, you use that as your measuring rod for success or status because people give you a stamp of approval. But what if it's a false sense of approval? It's only that I approve of you when you're doing things for me, and that's what I'm coming to realize that out of all these efforts, you know, this is what I got in return. Like I said, it didn't come overnight. This was something that was a pattern of behavior that I meticulously tracked it, and I was very analytical in doing so, and that's the conclusion I came to, and it's all factual. So, this topic is a very, very great topic tonight. Um, One that I think that more people should have discussions with about, because, like you said, we're losing our children, and unfortunately, we have the adversary that will tell our children that yes, your parent did care for you the way they said it. They will let you do this. They will let you be a free spirit. They will let you, and then there will be no sense of discipline. I try to consider myself a very disciplined person, a person of structure, and I want to pass that along to my children. However, as they grew up, they had their own mind. And before I leave, I wanted to just say something that I read an account, and it brings me to this. When Hannah took Samuel when he was a yawlet, she took him to the magazine, and she left him there, and he stayed there the duration of his time. And when he got a mind of his own, he still decided to stay. You know, um,
Mhm.
no one forced him to stay. So he made up in his mind that he was reared up in that environment, and ultimately he became one of our patriarchs. So he at some point he could have said, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to go out and do my own thing. So I'm saying all that to say this: that we can do what we can as parents, but at the end of the day, our children make decisions that we necessarily wouldn't make, and then we should not be held responsible, at least I don't think, for the decisions that they make and then the outcome that they receive that is not an outcome that they want.
True.
So,
We got some work to do. We got some work to do in putting our nation back together. This is definitely something that should be a part of our conversation. I'm a believer that repairing our home is key, along
oh
with
yeah,
repairing our relationship with the Most High, and that entails us going through the hurtful parts, because a lot of that plays a part of the society that we have today. The murderers, the rapers, the robbers,
hmm
the prostitutes, the crackhead, the drunks, the liars, the racists, whomever they all come from families. Whether they were reared by 'em, it came from a family with some type of culture, some type of value, from some
hmm
type of culture and value. So it's important for us to get together. Those are here and establish, a value system that makes sense, that's practical for everybody. And then a home life system that makes sense, that's conducive to a better society. People, oh, what's going on with people there in the world? People in the world are crazy. The homes. We got to go back to what a problem. Everybody originated from somewhere at home. If it was a child born in the hospital and the parent walked off and left it and said, hey,
right,
take it for adoption, it was because of some things that happened in the home prior. So it's important for us to come back and really, assess the matter where we at. They'll
right,
typically do it with war. They'll make assessments. They'll come and say these amount of soldiers have died, this amount
hmm
of bombs were dropped, this amount of people were injured, this amount of places were destroyed. So you kind of tally up and look at, is it really worth it at this point? Are we winning or are we losing? When we go back and look at how many homes we have broken up, how many people we have murdered and killed, how many people we have injured, it's important for us to go back and do our own assessment and realize, should we
right,
continue this war in the way we're fighting? Because we're losing the fight.
yeah. So, would you think? And I know you guys. I would love for you guys to chime in on this. Do Do you guys think that as Ross Smith said, doing a reassessment, and then uh, what strategy should we, should we approach it, to what degree in terms of the the presentation, for the lack of a better word. Sometimes you don't want to be too passive. You don't want to be over aggressive. What's that thinking about that sweet spot that we pretty much have to to repair the breach, or the I don't have a word for it, uh, the lapidation, I guess, of our home.
Well, I would think my suggestion would be, if you, in reference to the kids or the children,
Yes.
getting to first being able to listen. A lot of times we don't listen to our kids. Go talk with them.
Fully.
They're,
I think you're
You're
yeah.
breaking up.
I think you're away from your
Okay.
out of range.
It's the service. Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Along
No?
with beeping.
Okay. All right. So we listen to them enough to hear their attitude, or them talking under breath to say they didn't want to do something. But I think a lot of it is just the first. If we're going to start over, I would start by listening to our kids. A lot of stuff that they don't do, or they don't want to do, or have an attitude about, could really have a legitimate reason as to why I don't want to do this. So I
Right.
think starting would be listening. I'm gonna listen to you. Just say what's going on. Find out what's going on. Listen to what they say. Don't come in and judge. You don't have to do everything in one night. You can have a whole month of just listening, and don't
Let me ask you,
don't try to fix it. Just listen. I think we will learn
is this a new tooling?
a whole lot about our children, and
That's tired. Is this the new tooling or the old tooling?
my children have always talked to me, and they still talk to me, and I listen.
And how many times I tell you, Mama, that makes no sense.
That's fine. I still listen.
No, you're not. No, I do this. Can we do this?
No.
Is it possible? If see that? That's show you right there where the realness at.
Okay,
Can one or two of the kids, if they listening, please call in and verify this great lesson. What is it? What do you have going on, kid? Just listen. I'm just listening. And then listen, we can't do it all today. We'll start back tomorrow. I'm just listening. What do you people? I want to hear one of your kids.
Don't even. And when you do that, don't
just say this. Say this a new you. This the you now, though. I'm saying this not the you from before. I just want to make sure which tool are we dealing with? New tooling, old tooling. I mean, always been the same tooling.
This is
okay. This is the one that didn't do it the first time. Who came up with it?
I may not have taken this approach. Let's put it this way. I may not have taken this approach, but it didn't have to be a formal thing. Like sometimes, a lot of times we get in the car, kids get in the car, we listen to music, everybody sing, talk. Just talk. They may make another one talk, or talk. Do you talk to your kids? But my kids, what? I have a kid listening, and he can go ahead and say whatever he want to say if he decides to.
Okay. I don't want to. Your kids send back saying, I'm not getting involved with that one because I know my mama. I just talked to your kids today, and I remember two of your kids today just saying how you used to steal from them. And if the grandkids was on here, if they had little money bags, you would take from them. So I'm just looking at this listen. When they would say, Mama, you stole my money, did you say, I'm just curious, did you say, I'm listening? I just want to listen. How do you feel about me stealing from you? Or did you tell them, look here, little nigga, that's right, go with your daddy. I'm just curious, what was your approach? Was you listening to them when they say you stealing from them? Or was you telling them, you know what, just go with your little daddy from now on then, since you're going to sit here and go holler, I done stole your money.
Sir, this is
that's tight. Yeah. This
is Tuli 2, the relaxed Tuli, all that, I'm just chilling mellow. Spending time to think, and I'm just here. I'm just here to help the people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listen, I'm scared.
Let me ask you this question.
This new Tula.
The generational gap between, and with the exception of some parents, obviously they can identify their kids more because they had them at a young age. That could be, one of the determining factors to be able to relate to the children. Unfortunately, a lot of parents, they're out of touch with with society that our children that deal with. Saying that there are parents that have no clue to the lifestyle that their children live. That when they're not in their presence, and they could listen, but being able to decipher what they're actually trying to express could be a challenge in itself. So, how do we? I mean, like without a mediator, how would we be able to actually listen with the intent to be able to get resolved, opposed to just lending an ear and still not having understanding? Because a lot of things in which parents, listen to kids, it makes no sense. I'm just speaking for myself. It makes no sense to me, and so and I can listen, but if they're looking for a response and I give the wrong response, could that not drive us farther away or put us at odds? Because like I said, I do deal with an element of being a people pleaser when it comes to my children, and I don't think that's very, very beneficial. Being a parent. So, what's your
I would think go ahead, Joanne. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one of the biggest things that we always hear is communication. And it's true in a way, but I think it's more understanding. The thing is that we have a conversation to just talk rather than to understand the other person. And we really have to come to an understanding that we're two different people. We think different. So we have to
Right.
have conversations trying to understand the other person's view or the other person's conversational, what they're trying to get across. So
Right.
understanding more than communication is a lot more important than just talking to someone. Because if you're gonna sit with someone for 7 hours and not understand what they're saying, it's not it's you're not getting anywhere rather than sitting for 30 minutes and understanding each other. Well, dad, this is why I feel this, or mom, this is why I feel this way. And you as a father can absolutely say, well, wrong, I'm the father, daughter, I heard what you said, but we need to move forward. Moving forward, this is how we're going to move. So I think each other. And I just wanted to say real quick, uh, Julie and Tony, they touched very good points into our family. One of the things we're going to talk this week, more in depth, is childhood development. Childhood
Mhm.
very important, and so how we grew up, how we develop as children. There's phases. So when certain phases are not developed correctly, it's when we turn to be destructive adults or non-destructive adults. But then
Mhm.
as individuals at this age, we would be responsible enough to say, okay, my childhood wasn't good enough. Let me sit back and assess myself and fix the things I have to fix. So and then communication, like Bruce said, like let's listen, right? But also she has to listen to you as well. So it's vice versa. Just sit down,
Right.
regulations into, hey, I'm having this conversation to understand each other rather than to listen to your point and see where we can get from there.
Right.
I think a
Um.
lot of that's good. I think a lot too will be, in my opinion, will be important because people always, we all, like you just said, we always pushing the communication, communicate, communicate, communicate. But what people
Mhm.
fail to realize, I think, is that, huh? People fail to realize is communication is an exchange of opinions from both people. Okay, so opinions and ideas from both people. A lot of times people say communicate, communicate, but it's only one person talking, and it's one person saying, "Yeah, okay, and that's usually how it goes with a parent and a child. So if we teach the kids a part of that, what you're saying, it will be helpful. We can benefit. I think the kid can benefit from it, from us saying, "I'm just listening to you today." You know, that's
Right.
I'm just listening to you today. I don't, mom, what do you think? You think you think I'm right or wrong about it? I'm just listening today. I'm just listening to you. Today I'm listening to you. I'm just listening to you. That's all. But when we realize what words that we just throw out of there mean, I think we'll do things differently.
That's right.
And there's another element too I would like to touch on. Um. As I, as I know that while Smith and you, Miss Tooley, you two are grandparents, and I'm a grandparent myself. My wife and I, and what my wife and I come to an understanding and agreement with. For some reason, your children do not like for you to give them advice on raising their children. I don't know why that's such a big uh, issue, because knowing that you were raised by us and then you have children of your own, and you frown down on advice when it comes to like doing certain things to uh better parenting, in my opinion. Like, for instance, my granddaughter, she likes to get out of her car seat, and we thought we bought the state of the art car seat that would, once she's locked in, she
People,
can't get out. But some kind of way she figured out a way to get out of the car seat, and she likes to like hang on the back of the seat while my daughter's driving, and we kind of try to tell her to sit in her car seat and sit back, and her, her mom, my daughter, this is my other daughter, but she doesn't enforce that. And I tell my daughter, I said, what if, you get in an accident and go through the windshield, or what if I'm saying we took these preventative measures that way you wouldn't have to do that. And so um, I'm trying to figure out, why do children get so offensive when you're only trying to lend a helping hand? So that kind of cuts back on the dialogue. I just retract myself or remove myself from even saying anything along that line. I'm just pretty much the person that funds all the, accessories to, to help out without voicing my opinion, because it's always offensive if we say anything like, "Hey, maybe you should try this." Like my wife said today, you should take a snack bag with you, because my grandson, he was having a fit. I guess he was hungry, and my daughter was just like, nonchalant about him. And my wife was saying, you need to start packing something with them so they're not cutting up in public and making embarrassing you, which I don't think my daughter will be embarrassed about it. That's just the type of person she is. But just to cut down on why, why is that kid so irate, what I mean? To kind of like just to make things a little bit more smooth, so to speak. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot of times when it's something that you have and it's yours, it's hard, regardless if it's a child, if it's a car, if it's just something that's yours, for somebody to tell you how to wear it, how to drive it, how to make it look. It's mine. This is mine. I didn't ask you how should I wear it, make it look, make it smell. This is mine. So I think, and then a lot of times when you have children, for me, it's like a staple of adulthood. So at
Right.
this point now, I think children, this is my observation from my children, they feel that I'm an adult. So let me adult. I know you raised me and I don't want to do it that way. But then, and all of us, and also they have their own way of doing things. They're different. They're not me. And I understand that. And I'm very selective in what I tell my children about my grandchildren. But if it's something that's detrimental, it's just the way, I think it's just delivery, how you can present
Right.
it. You say, well, you may want to just say we're out somewhere. It's just, it hasn't happened. But if my grandkids, just every time he comes, he wet his pants. Golly. Oh, okay. Oh, mom, I gotta go home because he wet his pants. Okay, that's fine. Do it again. I don't have anything. I gotta leave. So we have to leave this big event because he keeps wetting his pants. So at some point I would probably say, sweetie, do you think that it might be a good idea just to, have an extra pair of clothes in the car,
Right.
sometimes, so you won't have to leave big events, as opposed to before the big event, you can say, you got extra clothes in the car. My baby is potty trained, and it's a whole other fight. What you trying to say? I don't know how I can't take my kids to the bathroom. I haven't potty trained. It's just a whole different thing. Then it also depends on your children too, and how much they rely on your opinion. Not just because they don't appreciate, but we just have to learn to trust and trust that. Okay, you know what? A lot of times you don't have to keep your hand on your kids, telling kids about your grandkids, because guess what? If you did a great job, it's a show.
Right.
How about that? Yeah.
Oh, they commend us on raising them. I mean, for some of them, but
Wait a minute, did
for the
y'all hear
most part, they commend.
anything I said but that?
Oh, I heard you loud and clear.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I just make sure my
It kind
I
of
guess
went. It was kind
Yeah.
of more a little bit, but we heard you.
okay, cool. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
But
So why are
yeah,
y'all blocked out? Me and Confederate 48, we sit up here, we live and
yeah.
we live in color. So what's all this block out with y'all? What was the purpose of this live and then, tune in?
I did okay.
I'm looking at all the rest of where's everybody else at?
Yeah,
Wow.
you know, Love Doctor, you there?
What happened?
I was saying, is the Love Doctor on?
Who knows? He ain't in love. He ain't getting no loving, so
The,
he
the
probably
love
fell off.
doctor is here.
There he is.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm just listening to y'all talk, and the reason I'm listening to y'all talk is y'all talking from the end of a parent, but I empathize with those who are the kids. Because
Oh,
my parents, they never listened to me. I was trying to tell them. Their answer was always the belt. Whatever you do,
wow.
you wrong, go to the belt. Go get the belt. You wrong, go get the belt. I was trying to get them to understand, mama, daddy, I am a genius. My mind operates on a farther,
Boy, go
higher
get the belt.
intellectual capacity than those of my classmates. I am way
Boy,
superior.
go get the belt.
They weren't trying to hear that though. They weren't trying to hear that at all. And it went to later on down in life they finally realized. They say, you know what, boy, you was a genius the whole time. We just never understood it.
And when did they tell you this?
They just sent me a text message right now as we speak.
Exactly. Sure it does.
But
Somebody done hacked your phone.
but yeah, you know, one thing you always express to us about, you know, about leaving the next Tuladar, the next generation, something that they can so much figuratively speaking hang their hat on. Um, and I think sometimes children that are not educated as to what should be left to them opposed to what they want left to them. I think you do a great job in terms of saying what that is because sometimes children just want the monetary thing,
Yeah.
you know, and then they don't want the tutelage or they don't want the information or they don't want, you know, the structure of how things operate and function. It's like, just show me the money, like, you know, Jerry Maguire said in the movie.
Yeah.
They want,
Show
you
me
know,
the
what,
money.
you know, what's in the will for me or what, you know what I mean? And I think there's a misconception when we say when we want to leave a legacy for our children. It's not all, which is an important thing. Leaving them something, you know, financial is great, but without the education, they'll squander it away anyway if they're not, you know, educated properly. And I think a lot of the time, us as being, you know, the so-called African American Negro, we were never, you know, taught. At least for me, were never taught how economics really was. I
Hmm.
later found that out, you know, growing up. But then I had spent a great majority part of my life, you know, trying to figure things out, how to, you know, put away for, you know, my my children and those coming behind me. So, you know, a lot of us are playing catch up, you know, in terms of trying to leave our children something behind. But, you know, sometimes I think we look at ourselves as failures if we don't leave them what our counterparts leave them, like, you know, the house that sits on 5 or 6 acres and, you know, trust fund and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. So if we sit and look at that, um, compare ourselves with them, I believe that's going to be another element of, you know, uh, oh my goodness, mental health issue in itself. You know, so again, I can't express enough how much you inform the young people. Like you said the other day, you said I don't want you guys just reciting something. I
Yeah.
want you guys to understand it, not just say, you know, not give way and just blurt out answers and just saying, you know, it being rehearsed. We've done enough of that. You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
rehearsing and not having to understand. And so, um, when it comes to our children, I think a lot of times we give to our children and not explain to them why it's being given to them, how to manage it, how to cultivate it, how to, you know, how to retain it, and how to, you know, release it and get a return on it. I don't think enough of that's being taught to our children. And as being
Hmm.
parents, you know, me myself coming up with very little, you know, everything I had received, I had to consume it because that's just, you know, just how, you know, unfortunate I was. But I never let that be something to to blame other people on, but it's a shared responsibility. You know,
That's
it's
right.
obvious that we were given the short end of the stick, short end of the stick, so to speak. But I can say, if I mismanage something, that's on me. That's not on the system. And then we
Yeah.
need to teach our children, hey, we can't always blame the other person. We got to blame ourselves at times too. And my
Exactly.
daughter, one she's the type, the one I was telling you about earlier. She never wants to take blame for anything she does.
Yeah.
It's always someone else,
Yeah.
and if I don't care what you leave back, if it's not to their satisfaction, then they're always going to still look at you. You didn't contribute to their well
Yeah.
being.
Well, my kids always want to know. I've had to ask. They already told me when their mom passed, they want that's their money. That's not my money. Even if I pay the policy, that's there. That's not for you. That's for us. When my mama passed, you think it's supposed to go to you? That's supposed to be our money. They let her know that when I pass, that money goes to them. They said that money, no, that's not for you. My dad, that money for us. I was like, I don't know how they came up with this stuff. I like, hey, listen, if you sleep at night, you go ahead. There's no use of arguing because I won't ever give you a dime of that check. I'm trying to spend up most of mine now, so that way people don't be sitting around. I don't need nobody sitting around by my doorstep just waiting with flowers and tulip and a shovel. No, get away from around my door.
Well, like
Let
the
me live and
commercial,
enjoy myself. Yeah, I'm
I
trying to
agree.
rush y'all.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, this is a very, very a great conversation that we have tonight.
100%.
And gosh, wow, Smith, man, it's an honor. So I told people a lot of people have stuff on what they want to do before
Uh-huh.
they expire, and
Yeah.
I actually was able to accomplish one of my. I posted a tweet a couple of years back.
Okay.
It said that the United States have Michelle and Barack, and I said we have Tony and Thule, but I didn't say it that
100%.
way. I said we have the Smiths. So,
100%.
like uh, you two, you give us something that we can relate to. I mean, two real live individuals, two people that you see. You get a full spectrum of an individual. The tragedy, the joy, the the obstacles of life, and you address all of it, and it gives us a sense for myself that this is a real person, not someone that's out of a fictitious like a fairy
Yeah.
tale out of a magazine. You can identify with. I believe that the book says in Arborine they call it Hebrews that we have a Rosh Kohan that can be touched with, that can
Yeah, our
identify.
affirmative. That's
Right, and
right.
so I'm glad that we have, though I'm of age, I still look at you as a father figure and truly as a motherly figure because of it's not about the age. It's just of the experiences that you two have shared together. The longevity, the commitment, the dedication, and the pyrene of it. You see the fruit of it, and one would know without knowing that. Who would have known that you've been in broadcasting for so long of a time? But it's
Yeah.
evident. You can see the way that you navigate. You know, you navigate. You know, with interview, whether it be an interviewer or whether it just be an audience, but how you navigate and how to that navigates too. Um, I recall a couple years back, um, you were on the Lexi show, and
Hmm.
oh man, that lady was so offended, but you struck nerves, but it was in a distasteful manner. I mean, it was she was trying to her objective was one thing, and the way that you turned it around, I was like, wow. And I was like, gosh, you know, it's just the way that you deal with people. That's a skill set in itself. So I mean, so I don't find it strange for you to be able to educate our men, women, and children the way that you do, and it's truly as well because of the of all the different situations that you've been in and all the things that you've encountered over the years. Like you say, no side deals being cut, all of that. I mean, that
Yeah,
means so much. It really, really does because when a person can have something to hang over your head, then at that point, then they can censor what you say. You know, there's
exactly.
boundaries you're not able to cross because they have something on you, and um, it's good and refreshing to know that we have leadership that they don't have any. If they have anything, it's falsified. You know what I mean? And
That is exactly right. I
and two
appreciate it. I've been doing it long enough to watch these people, and I appreciate the kudos. It's definitely humbling hearing it, but we definitely strive to be those people and to try to be real with our people and, be genuine with them. That's what our people need, and it
yeah,
gives them an opportunity to make, to see the power in being themselves because we've been, kind of glamorized in a way, people putting glamour, with,
mhm,
a lot of accolades and look like the ability they have is not given to us and we don't have that opportunity when all of us do and we can keep our character and still be intact, but still have a
right,
genuine care about each other. Just tell you this. I know you was talking. Excuse me, okay, y'all. I was at the UPS store the other day, and I tipped it on,
mhm,
and there was a line. Everybody had. I'm talking. They had double COVID, distance in between us. I'm sitting here
mhm,
like, man, it is hot, and I'm here. If I didn't have to do that, I was right there. I had to try to get to see somebody, which was Thule. So I'm like, that's the only reason I'm in this line. I don't even fool around like this, but anyway. So finally, I get up to the door. I'm looking. It's on a couple of people in here. These people have stood in this store and they got this big distance between, and they let people just sit outside. So I was at the door. I opened the door. I seen it open. I said, come on in. I said, come on in. I told him, let him come in. Got him in. Him and another. He sat there acting this cool, waiting. Standing around the wall. I'm looking. I see people standing outside. Another older person. I said, I look back. I swear I'm not gonna get involved. I swear. I look back. I said, hey, I said, move. Can you move over and let them in? I said, what is wrong with y'all? I said, what's wrong with us? The reason we're okay for watching each other say because somebody did to you, it was okay for you to do it to somebody else. Leave them outside.
right,
And I did. I was just kind of really irritated with the fact that why when you pass that same to say somebody brought me in out of the heat, and brought
mhm,
me into better to, and why am I okay watching you outside, watching you suffer something that I suffered and I didn't like. I was irritated. I would have left if it wasn't for the fact I had to be somewhere and I didn't want it driving out of the way would have threw me off. So I just kind of look at what's wrong with our people. The reason that people just don't. It ain't. You got to pick somebody up and carry them on your shoulder. Climb Mount Everest. It's the
right,
common simple thing of I am a human being. What I want for myself. I have no problem with another person having it. I didn't like my situation. I hated my situation. If it
right,
wasn't for what I needed to do, I wouldn't have stood for it. But I looked at people who were singing. These people were old, and another person about the same age didn't have that same care for the person behind them. It
mm,
just made me look. I did. I said in front. I said, "What's wrong with us? Why would you not care about somebody else that's standing right there? Obviously, you know what they're going through. You was
right.
just there, and you wanted to be in. Although it was simple, it just showed you that as soon as I get out of my situation, I will forget about you and your situation, which was my situation.
And it's the small things like that that become um, 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 inflated, for the lack of a better word, because we tend to overlook the what we see the minute, the small things in life, and it becomes to be cancerous, and then it becomes a pandemic, so to speak. That there's disrespect, there's no regard for human decency, and if no one speaks up and address those issues, it becomes our norm. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, when we have people such as you guys that speak out against things like that, the Love Doctor. he the term that he always he used, that thing it put a hook in me, and I tell you that legislative racism. Um, and I thought about that. I said, goodness gracious, um, it's indecency. I mean, because like you said, we're human beings. We're
Mm.
aspiring to just make it. We're not aspiring to just destroy the nation, but we're aspiring just to be able to coexist, to cohabitate with our counterparts. But when you write bills and legislation and you do things to make people to see subhuman, then something's wrong with your mind because
Yeah.
you could very well be in that position too. And when
Yeah.
no one speaks up about it, then everybody thinks that it's okay when it's really
Yeah.
not. And as Dr. Joe had said, that a lot of times if we don't talk about it, then what are we supposed to do? Read each other's minds and just
Mhm.
argue, think that it's supposed to miraculously just change? No, it doesn't. And that's what I harp about you so much, Rod Smith, is that there's not a topic that you're afraid to address. And the thing
Mm.
about it is, it was always, as we were told, off limits. You
Yeah.
can't talk about it, but you see the displays of it in public. You know what I mean? And when
Yeah.
you see that, you're like, well, why is anybody talking about it? Oh, we're not allowed to talk about it. Well, who told us that we're not allowed to talk about it? How do
Exactly.
our situations change if we're not able to express ourselves? And unfortunately, we don't uh, take a stand to speak our truth. Like you said, the narrator at the History Channel was going to say, "Look at the lion. She's thinking this. She, who told you all this? I mean,
Yeah.
how are we supposed to
Yeah.
believe this because you said it? Because you
Yeah.
have on the attire, you have a cast crew, you have what makes what makes you so believable? But then you have all of this respect for an animal, but then you see a human being that lives and breathes just like you, and you have no second thought about seeing him massacred in the street. You don't advocate for him, but you're so concerned, and you can read the mind of animals, but you can't see the condition of your fellow human being. I find a problem with that. So gosh, we have a lot of
You're
issues with.
right.
I mean, but as they say, you chip away at it, and eventually we'll get to where we need to be. I believe.
That's right. We agree. We always appreciate you, Sister Confederate State 4. It's always good to hear from you. Always time and
Uh,
giving us great information too. And always again appreciating what you had to say about me. I appreciate it. It's humbling. You
yes,
know,
sir.
I
You
just try
got,
to be.
you guys want Miss Truly, uh, a speedy recovery, man.
Thank
You,
you.
Yeah,
you,
sister.
they really got me. I mean, it really bothered me. I said, you mean to tell me you were in the hospital? And then Ron Smith said, yeah, I sat out there 12 hours. I'm like, you mean to tell me one of our staples one of our staples in society has gone down in a surgery. And I told my wife about it. I said, we love this, but we pull off for your speedy recovery, and it's just good to know that you appear to be um, love Doctor. Know you're a very comical guy. You are a very, very, very informative, educated man.
Appreciate it.
Doctor Joe, ma'am, I just tell you, you have a way of just uh, driving the point home in a way that it's easy to swallow. It's easy to digest. Uh, and I just really appreciate it. I couldn't put a price tag on it. I probably wouldn't be able to afford it. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to encourage, speak to you guys. If you would keep me along as I go into my transplant. I had to get my COVID test today. Um,
Mm.
and I'm trying to move forward. They say I'm gonna be down for like 6 months. But I'm trying to
Mhm.
get involved, in my daily activities sooner than that. But uh, they say the risk is very minimal, but I just don't. I just have a problem believing anything you say. Have a very very hard problem in saying it because unfortunately they tell you something and like Ron Smith said last week, we don't go in asking questions. We just what they want us to tell. And
Yeah.
the guy told me today, like, took my blood pressure. Said, your blood pressure's high. Is your blood pressure always high? And I told him, no, it's not always high. I said, I'm a little upset today. I have things going on. And I
Mhm.
guess he wanted me to go into detail, which I wasn't going to go into detail with him because I wasn't there,
Yeah.
or, a psychological evaluation. I was there to take a COVID test. So a lot of times, they want to give us advice that we don't ask for, and
That's right.
just said,
Or suggest things to us that puts us in a different line, in a different light, or a different mindset of what we would have done. A lot of times
correct,
we getting with them puts us out of character a lot of times because
right.
they'll control so much of what can happen or outcome of a situation from a general conversation. They get irritated enough. I have to say the right word, or let me say the
Mm,
white word, and then your whole situation will change, and it'll go from being a free person still in captivity, but yet going into the reality of where you at, just totally taken off the street or even murdered. And that's the world we live in, whether people will admit it or not. We live in a world that they can change the narrative at any time. I mean, life or death. When you control and have that much power over people that's controlled, but yet made to be wild, to live and exist as wild animals, is scary. I
mhm,
have a partner that I have do business, and he's Caucasian. We had a talk today that was deeper than he and I ever had, and I expressed, my disapproval for Trump and for Biden. Never been a Democrat, just 'cause some of the things. But I think in each party there's something. We don't, on another note. But having expressed to him, not understanding the plight of being the so-called Negro and being a white man, that he could never understand it. And he was trying to explain to me what opportunities we don't have. That in his mind, he believes that we have the same exact opportunities and have the same. So he said, you're successful. He said, you're even more successful than I am, brother. I said, yeah. I said, but I don't have it without it not being taken. The difference
mhm,
is what you have, they'll let you keep. I
mhm,
have to work so much harder to protect and guide, to keep myself, above, because I know that, for us, it's always the fear of when they're going to take it. Because if you live a life saying, oh, nobody can take nothing from me, then you don't live in a reality. They make books and laws and premises that whenever they want to get you, like a lot of older people wouldn't put their monies in banks. They would put their monies in shoe boxes and
mhm,
mason jars and bury them in socks. And then, they passed laws under what back after what I think was George Bush, where if you have $8,000 on you, that the police can take your money and you have to hire an attorney and you have to pay to fight to prove it was your money. If you don't have an active warrant, proof, of cameras, no one just called in and reported $8,000 was taken from them, then it's my money. And I shouldn't have to prove it to you. The problem should be for you. The burden of proving we were told was on you to prove that it ain't my money.
mhm,
And one end should be why are we having this conversation? I have the right to have whatever amount of money I want to have me without being investigated and taken. And because you don't feel like it fits your description, we lose it. So we live in a society that will never be fair to us. We live in a society where we have to address all these matters. Somebody said, well, they talked about this and you move about that because we are people that, we're damaged on so many ends. So when our anger comes out at one thing that it might happen, is I just think you guys are over aggressive, you guys are angry. It's because it's all compiled into so many things. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And that's the truth. And I told him, I said, you being a white man, you couldn't experience it to say that we don't. And so we got the same rights as well. Why is it that we're just saying we have the first black Supreme Court, woman, First, but
Yeah.
I say as long as we quote unquote supposedly have been out of slavery, how did we get to a point that we're just getting one? You tell me that somebody black has just become qualified? How is it that we don't have a legal right to vote? I say everything with us is just given, but it can be taken. With them, whites can rightfully march with guns, saying that my rights are being taken, that I'm out here fighting for my rights. If I took guns and other people look like me say I'm fighting for our right to vote or marching for our right, it's ignorant because you don't have one. You need to be saying you're marching to get the right to vote.
Right.
But see, our conversation itself kills itself. They don't realize that the people that you're talking to understand the language because they created the linguistics of the language. And so now they're sitting here and they're listening to you say things and realizing, first of all, you don't even have a right to vote. So how are you fighting for your right to vote?
Yeah. And then Love Doctor said something about that legislative racism. They ratify bills so much, and we know nothing of it to maybe 10, 15, 20 years later. Sometimes we never even know about it until we're the victim of it or we're standing before the magistrate and that didn't even know there was a law. They ratified bills so much till, they can just change things in the drop of a hat. Without a vote. Who does that? What type of government? They call it a democracy. It's a hypocrisy, if you ask me. But again, they are able to do these things, and it's always favorable to them. So when we sit back and say, "Well, you know what? We're not doing it anymore." Now we're enemies of the state. Now we're some type of terror group where, because there once upon a time, it's probably still on the book. Maybe one of you all know that when it was more than two of us more gathered, the book said that Yahuwah will be in the midst. Now this said that we're going to So what are we going to go with? But this is the same book that they say that they base all of their structure on, right? So how could how could that be when he says if there's two or more gathered in my Shem, I will be in the midst. But then you go back and say if there's two more Negroes in a group, then it's an illegal assembly. So which one?
They created these laws for.
It's just it's sad. It really, really is. But
hey, well, I appreciate y'all. I got a quick question. Any commentary about that big shooting that happened? You got 10 folks dead. One thing I was thinking about, y'all hear y'all conversation different injustices, a lot of stuff going on. That kind of
what I've been hearing about it, the mayor of Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, he spoke out on a news conference on Meet the Press, and he was saying they asked him a question: what could be done what could be done to strengthen that community, to make it a safer place? And this man deviated and danced all around the question that was asked. And then after he left off, the governor came and said that what she proposed to do on the state and local level. And I said, well, man, the people that were killed were your color. And this white woman had more to say about what was inhumane about it. Never once did this mayor call this guy a
racist,
kill
a terrorist.
Never did he call him a terrorist, but the governor did. What I hate is that why is it that always the opposite ethnicity has to speak on our behalf? Not saying that, and then it's alleged that the guy shot two white people, and he told them you weren't supposed to be here. That was in the transcript.
But it's not highly impossible.
But did y'all hear this? That he did not act alone, but he's the only one in custody.
I believe that they kept saying they found a manifesto. They want to know how did he get radicalized, which I already told me he was dealing with somebody else anyway. So they was bringing that. So now he was 18, body armor, all these, the bullets, the clips, everything. And like, what parents not watching it that know this? But this is the system we live in.
But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. This same little fella was an attendee at the Charlottesville riot.
Right.
So I'm like,
In Wisconsin?
No, in Charlottesville, Carolina.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Trump said there were good people on both sides.
Yeah, Trump's an idiot anyway. I mean, he's a boneheaded idiot.
He was in that.
Yeah.
He was an attendee. So he's associated with one of those groups.
Yeah.
So,
come out now.
But did y'all hear this part? How is he only charged with one count of murder?
So what now?
How is he only charged with one count of murder?
That's crazy. Well, you got to think about it. It makes sense. You got to remember now, a so-called Negro is only supposed to be like 2/3 of a human being.
Yeah, 1/3.
So you put enough of them together, you can come up to one. Take 10 to make one.
If they
Wow.
use that
1/3. Oh. Wow.
Ooh, you know what? That might be just what we need. That would be great if they use that. That would be great.
It would be great if they charge them with one count of murder. That way, and then what the sad part will be, it'll be the sharpest, the other one that'll have something to say, but it'll be for monetary reasons.
Right.
It'll be others that'll come out and defend it and say what they're gonna do. They're gonna give him life. So why do we care if they say it was 100 of them or one? Then as long as he gets the time in prison, that's what I'm concerned about. The problem becomes you devalue each human being.
Correct.
Every human being needs to have, like, if you got 10 counts of murder, a judge will give you so much time for each murder, and then combine the time, so you'll know why. Because sometimes one or two murders might be more heinous than the other, so he wouldn't want to get the times confused. On this count of murder, you get X amount of years. This one, I'm giving you these amount of years. So we need to get it back.
But listen to this. Okay. You do know he killed a police officer. How do you not get
retired?
But what's a cop? Always a cop. What they say, right?
Yeah, and in fact, he was working. He wasn't just somebody in the store. He was out security.
So how does this guy? I mean, it bewilders me. I mean, but again, he has a public defender. Okay, what he's going to get, as you know, he's going to be funded. He's going to get a GoFundMe page. He's going to get all of this stuff here. But at the end of the day, all of this stuff will be funneled through some bogus some bogus organization. When it'll be the racist group that perpetuated this violence in the first place, right? And then on top of that, he'll get, like you said, he'll get movie rights. He'll get a movie deal. Say your side of the story, and you know, both of us,
Lord Dollar, I want you to look that up to see if he has a GoFundMe page. My computer's doing something. I don't know. It's saying something about storage.
Let me go and look that up right now. As a matter of fact, I got a copy of his manifesto right now. If y'all ever seen that manifesto, it's 180 pages, but it's quite thorough.
Yeah. Did you guys hear to blame COVID-19 for?
No.
I'm not
blaming COVID-19 for the shooting.
Yes, he said because of the isolation he had, but he was planning this years. So, I mean, I think the family should be blamed for as well, just because when we do something, families. Therefore, I feel like the family should be blamed for this, and they should have some type of accountability.
He was in their home. He was 18. They got a responsibility. Like if you're a teenager child, drive your vehicle and go out and kill somebody, you're responsible.
His father purchased one of the weapons that was a part of the shooting, so he has to hold some type of responsibility for it.
His father did what now?
His father bought one of the weapons that was a part of the mass shooting, and then he went across state lines with the illegal firearm in the state of New York because it had an extended a clip that was and the gun was modified. So he should be facing federal charges.
Yeah, well, New York overrides everybody. They come down to gun laws. They had a former NFL football player. I say former because he was traveling through New York. I forgot the name of the gentleman, and I think they stopped him. He had a couple of guns in the car with him, but he had a gun permit. And he started explaining the gun permit was federal. And you remember that? I probably pulled that story up, and they wound up saying, "Well, let's see how you do in court with it." And he wound up being convicted. I think he got like 6 years. He was an NFL player, so of course he wasn't broke. He had enough money to pay for a good attorney, but yet he wound up going to prison behind that. And he had a gun permit and had his guns with him. So that's scary, the fact that, the state laws are fight. When you white, you can do that. We've been taught federal Trump state. But then the federal says, hey, when I give you a gun permit, because the ATF actually came out with saying a lot of this stuff is ridiculous, like going through states and got to have their gun permit. They're like, this is federal. When federal mandates something, it doesn't matter. State doesn't override us. So you don't need to do all this. But all these states got back together and fought again. And they were like, we gave you a gun permit. Your gun is legal in every state. You have a permit. You can do this in every state. It doesn't matter. They're like, they're not the people that's doing this. We're doing it. But these states overturn in New York, you will still go to jail. Only people get pretty much, I think, if I'm correct, gun permits if you own like a jewelry store, something like that. And of course you're going to be what? White. So therefore they'll give a license for you. They'll say you can get robbed or this can happen. Why can we get robbed as a citizen? The problem is not people with legal guns killing people. It's a problem with people that are criminals that are killing guns. You can have a legal gun permit and a legal gun. That doesn't mean you're not a criminal. So what we have to do is you have to enforce laws and make laws that make sense. Don't make laws against guns. Make laws against people's actions. I'll let you have the gun, but make no mistake, this will be the punishment for your illegal use of it. You know what I'm saying? Your illegal. I mean, you have it. It's your right. But if you put this in the hands of somebody that we deem shouldn't have it, or you're transporting it to places we feel like it's a safety issue, then you just lost that right. On top of that, we're going to give you something so severe, nobody else will want to do it.
And then, when they interviewed some of his classmates at the graduation when he was going to get his aspiration was to commit mass murder and then commit suicide. And this guy that didn't go anywhere. It didn't incentivize anyone to go to look deeper into what this guy's possible motives were. I mean, it's just.
Well, we saw that 4-hour drive.
Right, he went from Pennsylvania, wasn't it? Not.
I can remember he drove forward with 200 miles. That should have been about 4 hours. And you put a camera on your chest and you took your time to do this. Yeah, I saw him shoot a woman on the ground. Her head exploded. She was already dead. Yes. I mean, just senseless. I mean, it's like a video game to him. But it's one thing to shoot one person and say, "Oh goodness, stop it. I didn't expect this." But you just constantly just going and just shooting and walking through it. People on the ground. It don't matter. You still gonna shoot them. You have something that's deeper embedded, and that has to be eliminated. And you have to be exterminated. And the people that follow that type of teaching, you got to disassemble them. You got to put things in practice to make sure no one else of that caliber, that type of mentality, do it again. No matter what laws you pass, people are always going to be bad. But if you pass laws that you actually enforce that are good laws, you can eliminate a lot of the crimes you have. I'm against a man raping a woman for any reason. It doesn't make sense. So let's pass laws to where, okay, if you rape a woman, you just got yourself life in prison. You just lost your life because you just ripped her life. You got women that have been raped that can never be with a man because they scarred them so bad, or they'll be, if they have a male child, it's this dominance that they'll do and they'll inflict pain on them because of their, victimizer. So it's a lot that a woman has to deal with. Child molesters. I mean, people that just want to go around just shooting people, initiation. All these people should be skinned alive. I mean, on national TV, take some pliers and pull their skin off their body and let people watch it. And people that are watching will realize, I don't ever want to do that. These kids, too, we'll stop a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
But
do skinned alive. That's how you do it. And let them walk out and live. Let people see you. I guarantee we pull the skin off your body if you got any inch of
Woo!
strength. Whatever. Listen, when people see you, they'll realize I don't ever want to be that person. You're a mother and you want to kill your baby. And we're not talking about people with mental illness. We're
right,
talking about people that just say, hey, this is me. You know, like the lady Susan Smith in South Carolina that drowned both her boys because her boyfriend didn't want kids. How about I'll give them back to their dad. They'll be pissed with me now. They'll be pissed because I gave them away to be with a man, but they'll be alive.
Right.
but you know what? So, what you know with them,
Mhm.
and it's not all of them. That's normal behavior because
Mhm.
it's not a heinous crime for them to abandon their children, to have sex with their children. This is normal behavior.
Mm.
Even the famous infamous city of Rome was uh named after uh a mother that left her two children, Rom, Romulus, and the other child to some wolves to be raised by wolves. So what mother abandons their child, give it to wolves to be raised by wolves, and now they say this is the greatest city, that one of
Mm.
the greatest empires that ever existed, and it's based off of a woman neglecting her children to let dogs raise, to let dogs raise. So we can see the behavior, how they view, the world. When that guy went and shot those people, he didn't view them. He didn't see them as human beings. He
No.
couldn't, because you tell me a person that has any sense of uh, dignity
Reality.
or compass could do something like that to a
Mm.
total stranger that that was helpless, defenseless, and unarmed. What would drive you to do that if you're not an animal yourself, or you didn't see them as being something beneath you? So there you have it.
That's a society we live in where people, can do that when you saying about, leaving, a woman leaving her kids to be raised by wolves. A woman that, they do that today. They'll put
Yeah,
out the so-called Negro man and they'll let the wolves raise them. They'll trust
Mhm.
the system. That system designed to grind your child up, not to raise your child up. And
Yeah.
those are some more issues that that we all have to sit down and talk about. But then we talk about it, like words that we started learning now, the Abri words like shama, which means to hear. But it's more intense than to hear. It's to hear with the intent to do. If we get people together of all races and cultures, I mean, because I believe every one of these races, there are good people in there that are, genuinely just for the truth, just generally for what's fair, what's right. And if we come together and we hear that, it's enough of us to stand up and even convince others who might be on the wall to realize what's wrong with just doing right. That's why people keep killing and murdering and hating and dying and the diseases. Like now you got monkeypox. What y'all think about that? Now we got this monkeypox all over the place. 5 countries contracted it. It's like they constantly keep doing things and plagues are coming on the people, but yeah, they're not hearing. It's just like with Mizraim. They didn't hear the first one. He said, but the last one, they'll let you go.
Yeah.
So all these countries are on because we are more dispersed than we were in Mizraim. The empire of the whites is bigger than they're bigger than Mizraim. So now, because we're in all these places, all these ailments and sickness and disasters got to keep coming on these people till there's a consensus to say we've done wrong. We've taken a people that was free and we lied to them.
Uh-huh.
And for
You
their
know what?
love, we gave them hate.
You know what? Something, guys, that you said a while back. You said this, and I got to break it out. You said that China was going to invade Taiwan. You said it.
Then I tell you how they're gonna happen.
Yeah,
In
you said
India,
it.
and I told you in North Korea, it's going for South Korea, and India
Yeah.
is gonna look at Pakistan. Yeah, they hate Pakistan with a passion. And they the same people. They're the same exact people, but they've been taught to hate each other and delusion, and now they all kill each other. But go ahead.
Man, that. But again, the same people are behind the. They push the same narrative They, like you said, they just changed their name and changed their costume. It's the same people.
The same people. And Clark Kent was Superman, and nobody knew it. and that's us. We don't realize that the Klan is the same people. They are the same people. You put on suit and glasses, but you got another costume under it.
Mm.
And nobody take your clothes. You dare not. Nobody goes in the phone booth. Oh, those belong to Superman. But then, like you said, Superman never flew in the ghetto. He never helped the old lady carry her groceries. He never, he was always going to help Lois Lane, someone of a student or somebody that had some type of pedigree about themselves. But he was stepping out. And then, like you said they gave us Fat Albert kids getting their toys out of the garbage can to show us that it's just bad. Man.
Living in the junkyard. Yeah, that was terrible. I hate Fat Albert. It was the saddest cartoon I ever seen. They had to get all this stuff out of the garbage can. You know, some people say, I didn't look at it that way. I thought I did. It was just it was a nasty show. What you say? You didn't like it?
I didn't. Yes, I loved it. I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah,
show.
It was sad to me. I mean, he would walk around with garbage can hats, and they take the top off the garbage can and put it on for like helmets and stuff. And I was like, this is. I just didn't. I mean, it wasn't. I would say that I wasn't conscious. I won't say I was conscious, and but it was just the fact I was just looking at. I mean, I just hated the cartoon. It was boring. Then it was Bill. He was always painting something in the background. He had a commercial, and he's gonna tell you the narrative of the story, and let's see how it comes. I just didn't like Fat Albert. Only one I did like, I tell you, was when they were playing for Halloween.
I don't think I ever saw that episode.
Yeah, whenever they do a Halloween episode. That was better.
Yeah, but you come to think of it, if you look at when you do look at the whole scenario of Fat Albert, it was denigrating to us because it never showed us in a positive light. It was like that.
Never.
There was never success, and then you rarely ever saw Fat Albert parents. It was like it was bad. Now that you think of it, and then what the guy that he would always have the thing over the scully cap pulled over his eyes.
Listen, I don't know. Was it Yuck Mouth or something? I thought he was just the worst. That didn't make sense. Why would this man hat pulled out of his eyes looking at his hat? Yeah, that's how they do it.
The most repulsive of all of it was the guy that he could never talk. Remember, he would always be like, they would like be the only one that
that was Dumb Donald. So
Dumb Donald, you're right.
Dumb Donald.
So, but that's what he viewed. I mean, oh gosh.
Your friend is dumb. How many friends you have? I mean, if you're a friend or a person that's not, as articulate or as intelligent, you don't refer to them as dumb as the name along with the name. They say, well, it's a cartoon. It was a cartoon that was depicting the people's color. I told people before, Bill Cosby made his money off of his people. By dealing about the great enough.
Other characters too, like Bucky, that's the boy with the buck teeth.
Buck teeth,
right?
Yeah.
And they had Weird Harold. Remember that?
Right. Weird, yeah. I remember that. And they had who? What Albert? Why it couldn't just be named Albert? Ray he was fat and he never did nothing to lose weight. He always you want to eat dudes. It's like, I mean, you look at it, it seemed like we didn't realize when he gave it to us that we were a nation being probed and being worked on every end. Cartoons, because typically when parents have cartoons, you leave your kids to watch cartoons, you can go and do something else. For 30 minutes or 1 hour, they're out of your way. So you can and they realize you're walking away. I still have your this is what you said. Who leaves their kids to a wolves? And now we had to go back through and decipher these people cartoons, decipher these people television shows to make sure whether they're, it's efficient for them. A mother, I remember being small, when mother would first start getting their baby's table food was hot, they would get it and they would they put it up and it ain't ready. They'll keep stirring away. The baby might be crying, still won't. No. They'll get it and someone put in their mouth that chew and make sure nothing's in it to make sure it's something that when you give it to you, it won't hurt you or become detrimental to death. Today we don't have that. We don't have that nurturing mindset to realize it's certain things you don't give the kids. Certain things can be harmful and detrimental even to their death. That album was detrimental to our fall. Enough of it. Remember, the people that were watching it were minors. Those people, our generation became adults, and you don't realize the psychosis or how or what it played that it put on their mindsets not to achieve, not to grow. It's okay to be called a slanderous name to where that really fits you, and you actually bought into it. You know what I'm saying? It was people we had. Go ahead.
No, finish well because I hold my comment till you finish what you were saying.
I had friends we called bull, and it wasn't bull to insult them. It was bull because they were like that you were strong.
Right.
But now when you got kids, they know that's dumb and weird, and that's a part of your name. Then people don't look at you with any respect. So they're whites. They'll watch it. What do they think about us? Let's see, Dumb Harold, weird. You know what I'm saying? The Bucky, Fat Albert. All these were names that actually insult him because they fit him. He did talk dumb, so he should have been called some. There should have been a class that should have came and coaching him to teach him how to speak. You know, cartoons can be fun and funny. And I'm not against them being funny and fun. I'm against them when they insult and they use to hurt a nation and keeps us from achieving. So this detrimental for us. We could laugh if we had the life and the rights of the white man, because it's fun to laugh at yourself sometimes. It's bad to laugh when that's your really reality.
But just think about the backdrop of Fat Albert. They played in a junkyard. I don't know if anybody ever been in a junkyard, but that's not a place for children to play. I mean, why would of all places in the city, they never went to a park? You mean to tell me? Because I remember one episode about a little Caucasian girl. She was being abused by her dad or something. And they brought her to the junkyard and everything, and they reported the incident. But then I'm like, okay, what were you trying to articulate to the people that was looking at it? It made me seem like, hey, look, you mean to tell me that our children are not being molested? Our children are not being mistreated? But here it is that we see the remedy for this white little girl in that episode, but Fat Albert in the game never found a remedy. Because at the beginning of it, they were in the junkyard. In the last episode, they were in the junkyard. So there was no advancement. There was no, it was just always, waiting next time, and they would always go into this beat up. And how did they get a television in a junkyard that doesn't have electricity? And to watch the Brown Hornet. I mean, it was just bad. Sad not to think about it, and it's just like, guys. But Love Doctor, you said you were gonna pull up some information pertaining to that guy in the manifesto. Did he have a GoFundMe?
What I did is I pinned the comment on the manifesto. I also went online to look at the GoFundMe. Currently, I wasn't able to find anything in regards to him for the GoFundMe, but I did find something. The link to the actual manifesto I posted in the chat, and it's actually right here at the bottom of the screen. If you look at the bottom of the screen, that's the link that you can click on to actually go. It's a 180-page document, the manifesto, quite thorough.
Written by him, or it had to be a group?
No, it's actually written by the shooter. The shooter wrote it because the shooter anticipated he was going to die. He thought he was on a death mission. So he wrote basically a letter that he wanted everybody to know, to confirm that this right here was not him insane. This right here is something he had been planning for a while. What he actually does, he goes through different things and he kind of interviews himself in the question and answer format is what the paper is in, where he's actually telling people, he's interviewing himself, but he's anticipating questions that people want to ask him because he wants his story to be portrayed not in the media, but in actuality, in real life. He want to make certain no one gets things distorted. That's why he televised the whole event, and that's why he put it in writing. Quite interesting. Oh yeah.
Okay, our time done ran out to getting our attention. We getting ready to get cut off by them. Want to appreciate everybody again for calling. Always Confederate State 4. Always great to talk with you. Being our Palau. Stay strong. All those listening, appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Listen, anybody ask you, do you mind? You tell them you always mind every Thursday right here on Two Mics in My Mind at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. If nobody told you they love you, hey, we love you. And our language is called a heart. Tuli, love doctor. Resident Joe, take us home.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all.
Mental webinar has switched from Tuesday to Thursday, guys. Just as a the webinar
Oh,
is switched for next on Tuesday. Okay, so just be ready for next
Tuesday.
It's during the show next week.
Yes, on Thursday. Tuesday and no more. Okay. Have you questions?
Okay.
It should be
That's
interesting.
it. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Thanks.